van a gozar esta locura que vamos a hacer el día de hoy. Les contaba al principio del programa que sigo en Instagram a un chavo que es tercera generación de tintorerías en Nueva York, y hay una tintorería icónica que se llama Jeeves, y Zachary Pozniak lo busqué porque dije, me vale, tiene que venir a radio, porque sé que muchos de ustedes, hombres, mujeres, niños, niñas, viven con el cuento de la ropa y las manchas y la lavada, que ya les dije, si yo trabajara en una casa, diría, shot, lavar y planchar. Entonces, tiene una cuenta de Instagram que tienen que seguir, maravillosa, que es Jeeves, así J-E, V chica E-S _ N-Y, donde saca todo lo que se puedan imaginar, que si la mancha de vino, que si la mancha de sudor, que si la mancha amarilla, que cómo blanquear la ropa blanca, que, o sea, no saben la joya. Y tiene un libro que se llama The Laundry Book, The Definitive Guide to Caring for Your Clothes and Linens. O sea, es un libro que es una guía para cómo cuidar tu ropa. Did you understand anything I said, Zachary?
I sadly don't speak any Spanish, which is a shame.
Don't worry. We're going to do a great job translating whatever you say to Spanish. So what I just said is, if I was a full-time housewife or like a houseworker, I would say shot, cleaning clothes, washing clothes, and ironing. That would be my thing. So I discovered you on Instagram, been obsessed ever since. And I was just telling the audience a tragedy, and I think that's where I want to start with this conversation, that happened to me last weekend. I went to my son's graduation, and I'm wearing this gorgeous yellow cape with these huge puffy sleeves. And behind me, because my cape was like sitting on the chair, comes a friend with a bottle of red wine from his winery to give it to us, but the bottle was open. So literally, like, maybe like 20 drops of that bottle stained the sleeve. So obviously, because I'm a Zachary alumni, I got up, went to the bathroom, tried to get, some soap, and started treating the stain. When I thought this is going to go on forever, I went back to the table. And this was in a hotel. So one of the people from the hotel came to the table and said, we have a laundry. Would you like us to help you with the stain? And I said, sure. So they took the cape away. And when they came back, she says to me, okay, we couldn't treat the stain, but we dried the sleeve. And I'm like, oh my God. I knew that was the end of that cape as soon as she dried it. So why don't we talk about drying a stain and the big mistake that is and why?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great place to start. I think
Okay.
that's probably one of the biggest mistakes you can make is tumble drying a stain with heat, right? Air drying is a different category. I think the simplest way to put it is we're quite literally cooking the stain, because that hot air is so warm that you're just baking in, whether it's red wine, like in your case, or an oil stain, which makes it much harder to remove. I still think there's hope, but it is going to be much more of a challenge.
So what if you didn't realize that whatever garment had a stain and you dried it?
My next step would be also, I think, a caveat there, which is great, is if you're not sure, because it's always hard to tell, especially when a garment's wet, you can always let it air dry, and that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
That's completely fine. But if you have dried something and it's looking really not great, I would say do that pre-treatment, but let the treatment sit for much, much longer, maybe a couple hours, maybe overnight.
Yeah.
I would rewash it on a higher temperature. You're always going to get a better clean with a higher temperature. And at the end, you may need to treat it with an oxygen bleach like hydrogen peroxide or an OxyClean.
So I think that is one of the biggest mistakes we make treating stains, is our impatience, because we want to put
Mm.
some solution on, see the stain disappear, put it in the washing machine, get it over and done with. So how do you pre-treat a stain?
I think the best example of what you were kind of talking about of having a bit of patience is a lot of those stain remover sprays have enzymes in them.
Huh.
Now, enzymes take these really big molecules, like a protein molecule, and break them down into smaller ones. But just like the enzymes in our stomach and digestive system, they take a while to work. So it's best to just work that in, let it sit for a couple hours, and wash it then. That'll be best results. But in terms of broader stain removal, I think there are like four main categories. You have oily stains, those are pretty self-explanatory. Particulate, really fancy way of saying dirt and mud. Enzymatic is the ones I was just talking about. Those are basically food stains. So we have blood stains, grass stains, tomato sauce stains. And the last one is oxidizable, which is a really fancy way to say brightly colored stains like red wine, like your cape.
Yeah.
Tea, coffee, that just requires a little bit of bleach. So
Okay. Give me again the four categories.
sure.
Grease.
Oily and greasy
Okay.
stains.
That's number one.
Number two, particulate. Fancy way of saying dirt, mud, clay, sand.
Okay. Three.
Three is enzymatic, which basically means we need to use enzymes to break them down. Your most common stains there are going to be things like blood, tomato sauce, grass. I think those are the good big three.
Okay. And the fourth one.
The fourth one is oxidizable or bleachable stains. These stains are really like bright in color and are usually things like red wine, coffee, tea. There's not a whole lot to the stain besides the color, so usually we just have to use a very mild bleach.
Okay. So I assume that for each category, the stain remover is a different agent?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go one by one.
So we'll go from the top, greasy and oily stains. A surfactant is a really fancy way of saying a soap. So most common, like what you were using for your red wine stain, a little bit of dish soap or a laundry detergent. That's basically going to surround the grease and allow the water to wash it away. Because we know oils and waters don't mix. This helps them kind of get along.
Yeah, so this was my logic even before I discovered your existence. So I thought in Spanish, our like traditional dishwashing soap is called salvo. And so the tagline in the marketing says it removes grease, like a grease remover. And so that's our Dawn in Mexico. So I thought, this was my logic. So makeup is oil. Lipstick is oil. All the body glitter and the body makeup that we use, it's oil. So if salvo removes oil, why shouldn't it remove this? And that's how I discovered using dishwashing soap to clean a corset, to clean a bra, to clean, the spaghetti straps from a dress or whatever had makeup on. That's where I started.
Yeah, I absolutely love that logic. You're absolutely right. Makeup is mostly oil, and I put makeup usually in a separate category called like special stains, because there is so much pigment and color in it. Sometimes we need some other things for it, and they can be a bit challenging. But as I think a general rule, if you're in trouble with a stain, dish soap and water, really good for just about anything.
And listen to this, like the linen napkins that are, that are colored blue and green, and you don't want the color to fade out. And usually what people tend to do is, like scrub it against these washing boards that we have in Latin America, to death to get the stain out. Now I've learned that, when a party's over, I put all my napkins out, I look at the stains, and I put little dots on every stain of dishwashing soap. I let it sit for a couple of hours. See, I could go work for you. And then I just put them in the washing machine, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you are already doing, which is amazing, which I think is the biggest problem with dish soap, is people want to just, put this massive amount of dish soap on it. But what you said, a dot or two.
Yeah.
That stuff is so concentrated and that's perfect.
Let's jump from oil all the way to red wine, because I think that coffee and tea is no big deal, but red wine?
Yeah, coffee and tea usually wash right out, which is always why I'm surprised people asking about it. But red wine, you know, it's really bright in color. So because it's an acid, I would, if you have a couple drops, I would just dab a little white vinegar, 5% cooking vinegar. But if you say spill the whole bottle on a shirt, I would soak it in white vinegar before washing.
White vinegar. Why vinegar?
White vinegar uses acetic acid diluted with water.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, in most stain removal, like removes like. So basically, we want to find a friend for the
Mm-hmm.
red wine
Mm-hmm.
that's not the fabric. So we're going to use another acid because wine is pretty acidic. We're going to use white vinegar, which is an acid. So hopefully they get along and leave your clothes.
Okay, and what happens if you put like white vinegar on a red wine stain and then it becomes like gray, or I don't know. Is that possible?
Sure. I've seen some weird reactions with red wine stains when you put certain things on it, but what I would do is to fix that color, two ways to go about it.
Okay.
You can just spray your hydrogen peroxide on it,
Mm-hmm.
air dry inside, keep it out of the sun, or soak it overnight, hot water. The chemical name is sodium percarbonate, and I'm not sure if you have OxyClean in Mexico.
Oh,
I know in
honey bun,
Europe
we
it's
have
banned.
everything.
Okay.
Of
Okay.
course.
Great.
Of course.
Good.
OxyClean is my life. What are you talking
Amazing.
about?
Just checking.
Yeah. So what's the difference between putting oxygen peroxide or whatever
Yep.
or bleach? Because I would think that if I put peroxide, it's going to bleach the garment.
Sure. So hydrogen peroxide and OxyClean are non-chlorine bleaches.
Uh-huh.
So you're not going to have those bad Clorox and chlorine bleach stains. They're also known as color-safe bleach. So you can use it
Okay.
on literally anything that can get wet.
Okay, what percentage of hydrogen peroxide?
So I recommend for most people at home to have 3%. That's what you can get at most grocery stores, pharmacies.
Okay.
I would start there.
And it's not like the part where you put the hydrogen peroxide is going to turn white.
It really, really shouldn't. Again,
Okay.
if you're not sure, you can always test a little area, but I've had so few issues with hydrogen peroxide in my
Okay.
life.
Let's bust this myth. Every time you get dirty or a stain in a restaurant, everybody is looking for club soda. What is that?
You know, I don't know where it came from. I did it again recently. I've tested it a couple times, but the bubbles, carbon dioxide, they just don't do anything. It's water is amazing, right? If us dry cleaners can clean everything in water, we would. I'm not sure where the myth came from, but it doesn't
But it
do
doesn't
anything better
work.
than
It
water.
doesn't work.
No, I think if anything, you're going to have a harder time getting club soda or seltzer than just asking for water and maybe a little bit dish soap like what you did.
Exactly. Should we even take time talking about how to remove grass and dirt and coffee and tea?
I think coffee and tea are very similar to red wine. I think a really helpful trick with dirt is a washing soda powder or a baking soda. Keep it really simple. And then grass is just those all-purpose stain removers that have enzymes in it. So they're all pretty straightforward.
Okay, what's the best stain remover with enzymes? Give me the brand. Because in Mexico, we have every brand.
Okay. I really like OxyClean Max Force spray.
We have OxyClean Max Force. We have.
There's one called Miss Mouths. I don't know if you have that, but that's very strong, especially for red wine.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this is great for red wine, right?
Yeah, great all-purpose stain remover too. It's small. It has a little cap on it just to keep on the go. Because again, the sooner you treat a stain, the better. It's the more likely it's going to come out as well.
Why is baking soda so good?
Baking soda is so good because it increases the pH of the water. And detergent works better at a higher pH or more alkaline level. So it's often referred to as a booster. It helps deodorize, it helps break up those dirt and mud stains from your clothes. It's just a really inexpensive, wonderful addition to laundry when you need it.
Pero like, how should we use baking soda and on what?
I think the best use of baking soda would be for two things.
Okay.
Say like your dress where you were outside at a wedding and you have dirt all over the hem.
Uh-huh.
I would be working in that baking soda with some water to help release the dirt,
Uh-huh.
or adding maybe a quarter cup of it to the actual wheel or drum of the washing machine
Uh-huh.
before you load your clothes in,
Okay.
and just, it's going to basically help the cleaning of the detergent and the water.
Now, look, these are one of the questions that we're getting from the audience. My daughter is a doctor,
Okay.
and all her, what is it called? Like robes, like doctor robes, are gray instead of white.
Okay.
How do you turn back the clock and make a t-shirt, a robe, a doctor's robe, whatever was white, towels, super white again?
OxyClean, the
Uh-huh.
powder.
Uh-huh.
Take, half a scoop of that. And then if you're doing a ton of stuff, say she wanted to do all of her robes and jackets at once, you want to do a lot of sheets, you want to do a lot of towels, you can do it in a sink, top loading washing machine, bathtub, get the hottest water you can get,
Okay.
ideally 140 degrees Fahrenheit,
Oh my.
which is like 65 Celsius.
Okay.
Add your powder and let it sit overnight and then rewash it. But oxygen bleach, like OxyClean, takes forever to work, unlike chlorine bleach, which works instantly. So it
Okay.
requires high temperatures. That's why we want the hot water, and a lot of time.
So I think that's the biggest mistake, that people don't understand that the magic with OxyClean is hot water. If you use
Absolutely.
OxyClean with cold water, it's doing nothing.
Yeah, sometimes I go a little crazy and put a hot water heater when I'm trying to get stuff super, super white
White.
because it keeps the water hot. I wouldn't recommend that for everybody. I think it's a little dangerous, but yeah, you want to keep the water super, super hot.
Well, what I've done in a moment of desperation is, those electric water heaters that you use for like making tea.
Yeah,
Like I'll heat the water with that, and then I will put it in the bucket with the
that's
OxyClean.
great.
So, why do whites turn gray and yellow?
I think the main reason would be that they're being washed with colors and darker clothes. No matter what you do, dark clothes and colors are always going to release dye and dark lint. So odds are the whites are just picking that up, and that's what's going to happen. So that's why separating by color is important. I know it's annoying, but that's probably the cause of that.
So, in Mexico, we say tallar, which is to, like, I don't even know the word in English, when you like rub the fabric against each other. In the collars, armpits. What do you do with the yellow stains in the collar, in the armpits, and sometimes even in the cuffs?
Yeah. So two things to go about that.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's caused from body oil,
Yeah.
which is super normal. It is the most common stain on our clothes because we're not spilling coffee every day, but we're always sweating, whether we like it or not. So first, I would treat those areas with, again, a little bit of dish soap and or really strong, high quality liquid laundry detergent.
Mm-hmm.
Something I do to ensure that I'm not using too much dish soap is I'll keep a spray bottle. I'll put like a teaspoon of dish soap in there, fill the rest with water.
Mm-hmm.
So then I have a spray bottle that has dish soap in it. So I would take the collar, spray it down, maybe working with a brush, wash it,
Mm-hmm.
and then to fix the yellowing, saying I feel like I sound like a broken record, but going back to the oxygen bleach, either spray some hydrogen peroxide, air dry inside, or give it a nice soak in OxyClean.
And OxyClean. Okay. I've seen you use this little white stick that I'm
Mhm.
dying to buy and have, that I don't know what you use it for, but like what I've been using is my little fingernail and
Good.
what brush. So talk to me about those two utensils that we need to buy.
Sure. So the little white tool is called a spotting bone.
Huh?
Now, the word spotting comes from the actual person that's cleaning the clothes at a dry cleaner is called a spotter. So it's kind of their all-purpose tool. It's just really helpful at working in your treatment because we really want to, again, penetrate the fibers.
Yeah.
That's why, if I remember saying to pre-treat something, I say tamping with a brush because you
Yeah.
want to go up and down. We don't want to scrub and make the stain bigger.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I have a similar brush from the same company that I'm gonna have to get you a couple of these,
Uh-huh.
where again, it's got a nice firm bristle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really so that treatment gets into the fibers of the stain as opposed to just sitting on the top.
Okay, but so what you're saying is that brush, it's not like you go back and forth. You just go up and down to get into the fibers. Because what we do in Latin America, instead of using that little tool of yours, the spotter, is that we rub the fabric one side against the other. And then, 6 months down the line, the collar is basically torn because of the friction. And that will not happen with a boner. In Mexico, we have these washing boards, but
Yeah,
they're
I've seen
made of
them.
stone,
Yeah, I'm
and they have
familiar.
like these ridges.
Mhm.
And what people do is that they, that you've seen that, somewhere. And I think
Yeah.
that must destroy clothes. You do that with the t-shirt, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. We call it like that rubbing, fancy word. But again, it's this balance between being really aggressive and getting the stain out and
Yeah.
then causing damage
Yeah, what I'm
as a
thinking is you can rub a pair of jeans, but you cannot rub a white t-shirt. Zachary, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I will come see you in New York. I want my brush. I want my spawning bone. And I want my cape, my yellow cape, back to normal.
You got it. No problem at all.
Okay, my friend, I send you a big kiss all the way to New York. Es
Okay.
Zachary Pozniak en Instagram y en TikTok. Síganlo, les va a encantar su contenido. Jeeves, Jeeves, chica, ES, guión bajo NY. O el libro, The Laundry Book, The Definite. Oh, and I want my book. I know
Okay.
you sold out of that book.
I got a spare one for you.
Okay,
Don't worry.
thank you, my dear. El libro se llama The Laundry Book, The Definitive Guide to Caring for Your Clothes and Linens. Yes, Zachary Pozniak.